So this clip was the last flight of the day on Sunday at Gorse Lunan Bay. So while it was still staying dry here, out front you're starting to see the clouds definitely looking more rain-like. And on the drive back to Dundee following this flight, there were certainly rainbows both inland and the heavy clouds out over the sea. Winds were also getting very much top end, so it was easily 20 knots. So anyway, popping the wing up, staying in the cross position because that increases the trim speed. Just set up the wing so it's kept permanently rolled left here. The stride distance there is often about 6 feet between each step, so sort of long moonwalking. Try to keep the load as even as possible on the glider, and just cutting along past the gap. You're now clear of the huts, so if you were dragged back, you're not inconveniencing anybody else. So having done a number of flights, I know what the conditions are like. And flicking round to face forwards. So that's reduced the trim speed slightly, making it a wee bit easier to backtrack. And the final cutting back into the low dune ridge lift. If the lift had been a bit less, and wind being a bit less, I'd have probably just used the wing to walk up to the top of the first section and then taking off from there. So, launching in the cross position, letting it turn me back round and continuing along in the beat, past where the heavy waves that we've been having with the strong winds and the high tides of late have caused a lot more erosion on the dunes. I think it's mainly the rain that's caused the land slipping on the main ridge though. At this time of year the vegetation's a lot shorter, so it doesn't quite have the same protection and stability. Primary control as always is with the harness, with small secondary assists when necessary with the brakes, and despite the fact flying on my own, also lots of check the airspace. Right, just sorting out there, one of the speed system lines had actually popped out at one point, so that might have been when I was sorting it, I'm not sure. You can see the heavy cloud out front, you just get wee glances of it to the left. There. So there's the rain showers out in the North Sea. Nice old height there, not as high as I was at the start of the day, but lift is extending well out front. I mean, there is quite a slope on the beach in comparison to some areas, but it's mainly the air piles up onto the ridge, so the lift extends forward. Once you get out over the surf line, your ground speed is definitely close to zero most of the time, because the wind is almost all horizontal. There you can see how very little I'm drifting forwards despite being upright, so increasing the drag on the pilot. And just cutting back into the ridge lift a wee bit more for the touchdown. And there, dead stop. Okay. Step the wrong way as it were, where necessary to get the wing rolled. It's always a good idea to keep reassessing the conditions. So at the moment I'm keeping the wing rolled to the right. Making the wing do all the work, but always ready to go for safety risers if need be to kill the wing. So you can see there it's a long moonwalking type action again. Tiny bit of right brake, but mainly harness control. Warping the wing and keeping that wing slightly rolled to the right. So my favourite chip shop at Arbroath opens at 4 o'clock, and this is probably, if I remember rightly, probably about 5:10 to 4. So with the heavy rain cloud out in the North Sea, clearly coming inland, wind's getting very much towards the top end of what I would even fly in. Time to go get some food. Not to mention the fact that it's not exactly warm. So the wee push, jump, settle, almost sitting down, get the wing to bring you back on the feet. Safety riser procedure, so it doesn't take any strength or effort. And get the wing into its parked position. There you can see with the safety risers that just you slightly overdo them, which is actually quite handy here. Just chucking the gloves out of the way. If you slightly overdo the safety risers, you can get the wing to lift into a neat rosette, and then using safety procedures, much easier to lift and gather it in. Yeah. Press stud I need to replace. So just using one of the releasable tie tapes just to tidy away one of the brakes, right brake. Get that repaired next week. So, quick glance round, checking the airspace type thing, looping in the safeties, and then slightly over safety it so it'll lift into the horseshoe. There we go. And let it snake in, nice neat gather. Keeping the loop of safeties locked in, and always a double twist even if you're wearing gloves, but certainly if you're not wearing gloves you definitely want that double twist on your dominant safety hand. Pick up the gloves en route, and then just take it round to the sheltered area in the lee side of the pickup, so you can get the bulk bag out and pack it up for the head for food end of the day. Bear in mind at this time of year we're getting dark just after 5, and with the weather as it is, not really a great deal of point to try to scratch that little bit extra flying. Go get fed.